Community Viewpoint.
And welcome once again to Community Viewpoint. I'm John Pawlak, your host for this segment. And let's see, do I look more intelligent with or without the glasses? It doesn't matter, does it? Okay. We're going to talk today a little bit about the recent rate increase that our energy provider, Valley Electric, has bestowed on us. We have a new energy charge of almost 12 cents. It's 0.11956 per kilowatt hour. And although it's not going to really affect us now that the weather is becoming nicer in about 2 months when we're going to be using the more electricity once again with the air conditioning and swamp coolers and whatnot, we will really notice the price increase then. So we've had some issues during our district meetings with people thinking that there might be issues with the electric meter outside that may be reading incorrectly, but the chances of that are usually very minuscule. There are other issues with appliances, different things that we're using in the home, televisions, air conditioners, and things like that that are drawing a lot of power. And some things may be going bad that we don't know of. And in the wintertime, we're using electric heaters. They draw a god-awful large amount of power also. So there are ways to find out how much is being used. And we're going to be talking today or looking at videos, and we're going to be looking at something called a kilowatt meter. And it's this thing, this little device is able to tell us how much voltage, amps, power, how much power we're using, and we'll be able to deduce how much our money we're paying for that specific appliance. I've got a couple of videos for you today. Let's watch the first one with Amy from Alt-E. They're wonderful people. They have a great deal of videos about electrical issues. And let's do the one with her first, and she's going to describe a lot what the kilowatt meter does. So let's go to Amy right now.
Hi, this is Amy from the Alt-E store. The first video that the Alt-E store did many years ago was how to use your kilowatt meter. Now the kilowatt meter is a very handy device that allows you to figure out how much power your appliances or devices use by plugging the kilowatt meter into the outlet, and then you plug your device into the kilowatt meter. So it will measure both the instantaneous power, how many watts is it drawing right now, and it also will figure out the accumulative over a period of hours or days or weeks. How much power did that use? Now you can use that information to figure out what's using the power in your house. And with that information, you can figure out how to reduce the power that you're using. So you may be asking yourself, but you're an alternative energy store. Why do you want us to use less power? Well, if you're planning on putting a grid-tied solar system on your house, the first step that you should be doing is looking at how you can reduce your electric load, because the less electricity that you use, the less electricity you have to make, and the smaller system that you can put on. So the whole system becomes more affordable. It's really pretty dramatic difference in how much you save in electricity and how much smaller of a solar system you can put to offset that amount of power. So it's just going to take a look at a few different devices here for an example. So I have my living room set up here with my cable box, my Xbox, and my 23-inch monitor. So right now, all I've got plugged in and turned off is my cable box. So I can look and see that my cable box just being plugged in is drawing 11 watts. So that's 11 watts over 24 hours over 365 days. So it starts to add up and add up and add up. So over the course of the year, just that cable box being plugged in will probably cost me about $20 in electricity. Okay, that's not going to break the bank, but when you start adding other equipment in there that's doing the same thing, it's really starting to add up. So for example, let me turn on my monitor. So you can see the kilowatt meter just jumped up 20 watts. So my monitor is drawing 20 watts. If I don't turn that off, so if I just figure, oh, my cable box is off, so I'm just going to leave the monitor on there with the black screen, it's going to still be drawing 20 watts for 24 hours, which is 480 watt hours a day, which over the course of a year is 175 kilowatt hours a year. So now that is going to cost me $31 a year, on top of the $20 that my cable box is using. So you see, you can just go from room to room, from place to place, and see what power you're using, what it's doing when it's actually being used versus when it's not being used. Is it really turning off? I can now turn on my Xbox, and I see I've just jumped up to 79 watts. So I know that my Xbox, when it's on, it's using 54 watts. So if I use that for 4 hours a day times 7 days a week, times 52 weeks a year, it's going to start adding up to 78 kilowatt hours a year. So that just added another $14. So again, let's make sure that when we're not using it, we're turning it off, and so we're not doing this adding up of all these phantom loads. Now, one way that I have found that's very successful with cutting down these phantom loads is, say, in your entertainment system, you've got a lot of different devices that are all plugged in, but they all use a remote control, so they're just sitting there in standby. What I've done is I've gotten this very powerful device in my hand, my finger. When I'm done with watching TV or doing anything in the entertainment system, when I put my remote control down, I also turn off the power strip. What that does is that shut down all of my phantom loads. So I'm not using any power at all when I don't need to. So now when I go to pick up my remote, I can just turn it back on. Everything's going to come right back up, and I can just continue on. I've probably just saved myself $50 a year, so I can go buy myself a new Xbox game. Not bad, huh? I hope this was useful, and if you liked it, give us a like and a share, and please subscribe to our Alti Store channel, and also go to our website at altistore.com, where we've been making renewable doable since 1999.
Now that was a video from the folks from Alt-E, and Amy's been doing a lot of those videos for many years, and she's very articulate, easy to listen to, so I thought that would be a good way to introduce you to the kilowatt meter. And I also have a shorter video from a gentleman from Touchstone, which is what Valley Electric belongs to, the association, the nationwide association, so you know that this is on the up and up, the kilowatt meter. So this is only for a couple more minutes, so it'll be in the same vein, but let's look to what this gentleman tells us also. Let's roll that, would you please?
I'm Alan Shedd with Touchstone Energy, talking about how to save money and energy in your home. In a typical house, we'll find an entertainment system like this with a TV, a satellite box, a game console, DVD player. All of these, of course, use electricity while they're operating. I'm using something called a kilowatt meter to measure how much electricity these devices use. This meter is something you can either buy yourself for about $25–30, or in many cases you can borrow them from your local Touchstone Energy Cooperative or your local library and conduct your own tests around the house. As you can see, with all of these devices plugged in, we're using 117 watts of electricity. Let's turn each of the devices off in series and see what the total energy consumption drops to. So first, let's turn the TV off. All right, we can see that we've dropped now to 38 watts. So that TV was using most of that electricity. Next, let's turn off the satellite box and see what impact that has on our total energy use. Wow, no change. So even though we turned the switch off on the satellite box, our energy consumption didn't change. So it's still using power even though it switched off. Now the DVD player. Turning it off, a little bit of a change here. It's dropping 32 watts. And the game console is the last device that's on. We turn it off and energy use drops 20 watts. So we've turned everything off. We've turned off the TV, the satellite box, the DVD player, game console, everything, and we're still showing 20 watts of energy usage on our kilowatt meter. So these devices have what are called phantom loads. They're using electricity even though the power switch on the device is turned off, and that 20 watts is costing us about $20 a year in electricity for no real benefit. How do we combat that? Simple way is to use a plug strip. If we plug all of the devices into a simple plug strip like this, by simply pressing the off button, we switch all of the devices off, and we can see now on our kilowatt meter, energy use has dropped to 0. So we've shut off those phantom loads, and we're saving ourselves money.
Remember that? The power strip, Amy's finger, bam. It's so important. This is a positive shut off. When you shut this off, you have no power going through it. It's like unplugging the appliance. Also, the gentleman spoke to you about having these available from your local electric company or your library. Well, these were at the library, or these were at the electric company. They were given to the library 3-4 years ago, and they're still available there. If you would like to check them out, if you're a resident and you have a library card, you could check these out like a library book. You have it for 2 weeks. Remember to bring it back. The instructions are in it also. And so you could use this to find out if your stereo, how much your stereo is taking for power, air conditioners, fans, toaster ovens, refrigerators, microwaves, computers, games, washing machines, heaters, not the dryer. That's going to take too much current, something really large. This is not available for something really huge, but this is a godsend for where your power is going. There's some math involved to try to find out your kilowatt hours, how much money you're paying, but not with John. He found a website. You can just plug all your information in there, your wattage that you're using for your appliance, how long it's being used, how many hours, and then your rate, cents per kilowatt hours. I have that plugged in there. And then you could compute the how much cost per day, per quarter, per year. John found an easy way, you betcha. But if you're serious about finding out where your money's going, because more money is being spent for the raise in electricity, by all means, please go to the library and take one of these out, or you could buy them for $15, $20, $25, depending if you go to Amazon. So this will help you, help me. Next week, I think we're going to talk about using LED bulbs, replacing them, fluorescents. So hopefully I helped you a little bit, because it helped myself. Thank you. We'll see you next week.
Community Viewpoint.